Guys, my name is Julie, and if you're new here on this channel, I talk about everything studying and immigrating into Canada. If you want to check my about, do so, because it shows you why I started this channel because I know how hard it is to immigrate to a new country, especially with family. Today I want to talk about surviving in Canada as a newcomer in winter. And I just want to give you my tips and tricks, everything. I want you to learn from my mistakes, guys. And I have like a list here, so I'll be looking down sometimes just to make sure that I say everything that I want to say. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is get the right coat. Like, guys, you need to get the right coat. Like, it's so important. Like, the cold in Canada is not something you underestimate, and it seeps into your bones. You just don't know. It just, like, if you allow yourself to get exposed, you might not notice it immediately, but like with months down, you just see that you're always sick or your immune has crashed or something. So get the right coat. And there are different types of coat. Like the one I'm wearing now, it's a different kind of coat, and you can see that this place is exposed. So with this kind of coat, I wear it during the transient period, like when it's fall, like now, you know, and it's not so, like, it's not freezing cold. But when it starts to get to like November, December, I layer up. If I'm going to wear this kind of coat, because it's stylish, right? So if you want to wear this kind of coat, you want to wear a turtleneck. I wear a turtleneck, and I even use scarves. I use a lot of scarves, like thick scarves. So if you are going to go for something that is, what my point is, don't get fashionable at the expense of your health. If you're going to wear something fashionable, wear it sensibly, right? So layer up, that's the thing. And then you can also go for the puffer coat, like this. The puffer jackets are all over the place, and it's just like you are snuggled inside a warm blanket. So you can, that puffer jacket is the best for newcomers. I would recommend it because you've not yet acclimatized to the cold. You just throw it on and you are good. You can just wear like a sleeveless top underneath and throw it on and you're good. And then when you're in your school building or wherever you're going, everywhere is heated, so you can remove it and you are fine. So puffer jacket is the holy grail, right? And you can always get that easily in Canada. And you can, if you are the fashionable type, you can look fashionable if you layer well. Like get a turtleneck top, a thick woven turtleneck top, not a when I say top, I don't mean ton, I mean a turtleneck sweater top, not a turtleneck top. So let me correct myself. Okay, before I continue, I just want you to know I'm in a very beautiful park. I love this park. It's so, I just love it. Okay, so I decided to just have a change of environment because I've always been filming indoors. I just wanted something different. Okay, so and then I want to talk about thermal wears. Thermal wears like this, they are very good for winter. I have never used thermal wear before. I've never used one before. When we just came, my husband went to buy one because everybody said we should get thermal wears. But what I just realized was that people that suggested it to us were living in the very colder part of Canada. I live in Ontario. I've said this several times. So people that suggested it to us were people that were new and were living like Manitoba, like Alberta, like New Brunswick, like Atlantic Canada, where you need, correct me if I'm wrong because I don't live there, but ideally I think you need to have a thermal wear. So thermal wear, you just wear it under your clothes and you are so warm and no one knows. Like, it's cheating basically. So it's also good to have, especially if you are going to a very, very cold place. Everywhere in Canada is cold, don't be deceived, but cold is different from cold. Like minus 40 degrees is different from minus 20 degrees. So far since I've come, I think the worst we've had in Ontario since I've come in 2019 it's minus 30. That was like for a day. So the coldest, and that's in January, February, is like minus 25, and that's not like bad. So when you wear your puffer coat, in fact, you start feeling sweaty and itchy under the puffer coat sef. So yeah, so that's that. And I want to talk about shoes, guys. Like, before I even talk about shoes, I want to tell you something, and this is welcome to Canada information. So there are different types of snow. Like, when snow falls, it sets, and when it sets, everywhere just becomes very, very cold and chilly, right? So if you see this kind of snow, it's safe, you can walk on it, you won't slip. But if you see this kind of snow, the type that is like glass, if you walk on it at your own risk, because you are just going to slide, like you will slide and you can really, really hit your head or something. Like, avoid it at all costs. Learn from my experience. If you see anything that looks like glass, if you see any kind of snow on the floor that looks like glass, avoid it. The white ones, the fresh ones are better. And even the hard ones that have set, maybe day 2 snow or day 3 snow, right? But when it begins to thaw and it's now like glass, it's very dangerous. Avoid it. It's slippery. So that's one. Them shoes make a lot of difference. I did not get that when I first came to Canada. I just went to buy any kind of shoe. I was always cold on my feet, and it just made me feel sick. Like, when your extremities are cold, your hands, your feet, your head, you just begin to feel sick. You just feel sick, like 2 hours in, you just feel sick. And when I say sick, like, for me, I just feel like sick and tired, like I want to sleep, like I just feel sick. And I find out that if I just wear a hat or something, I feel okay instantly. So get the right shoes, the shoes that are warm. Many of these shoes that they sell in winter check that they have insoles, that they have maybe something lined inside, like it has to be lined with maybe 4 or maybe something thick, just to keep your feet warm. And then you want to check under the shoe and make sure it has grip. Like, if you are buying and you are investing in buying shoes, don't waste your money. If you're buying shoes for winter, in fact, all you need is one very good winter boot. Okay, so my tips is it should be lined inside for warmth, and under the sole should have grip like this, and also it should you might want it to be long, a bit long. You might like, there are different types. There's sorrel. I recommend, like, there's sorrel. I like sorrel. I like blonde stone. Manitoba.ca sells a lot of nice boots. Columbia, North Face. There are lots of options. But also, I would suggest that you buy a waterproof boot. A waterproof boot will be snowproof, so you can walk in the snow confidently, and you know it's not going to give away the next day. It's still going to be okay. So for newcomers that don't have a lot of money, thrift store is your best bet for shoes when you just come, because shoes can be very expensive new, and when winter is when things go on sale. Winter boots go on sale in summer. So like spring, let me say spring is the best time to buy winter boots, like in March, when winter is going, not when winter has started. So you might not have good deals if you happen to land here in winter. That's why thrift store is just the best for newcomers that don't have a lot of money. But if you have the money, and with like $100 or like $80, let me say $100 average, it could be more, it could be way more, depending on what you're buying. But with that, you can get very good winter boots, like $120. You can get it new, and it will last a long time. Okay, so I want to talk about mittens, scarves. I love scarves. I have a lot of them. This one is thin. It's something I have in the car for another purpose, but today I just decided to take it because I forgot to buy. It's what I have in the car for another purpose. I just forgot to bring my scarf, and I just grabbed it. But typically my fall scarves and my winter scarves are thick. Fall scarves are like average thick, like, I don't know if you know what they call pashmina in Nigeria. Pashmina, so that kind of thick. But my winter scarves are very thick, and scarves, gloves, mittens, hats, you can get it very affordable, like everywhere. You can even get it in the dollar store for like $1.50. You can get a woven hat and mittens. So hats, gloves, those things are very, very affordable. So you make sure you stock up on that, especially if you have kids. Please please just go to the dollar store. You will get a lot of meetings, you get a lot of scarves and everything like that for your kids. Please make sure they have this before you send them to school. Okay, so I want to also some other tips for you guys. So when you get here, GPS is your best friend. Make sure you time your trip. Don't just go out and go to the bus stop and start waiting. You check the GPS, you check where you're going, the bus that will take you there, and what time the bus will arrive, so that you can time it. If it takes 5 minutes to walk there, start leaving your house 7 minutes before, or 8 minutes before, so you get there and you don't wait more than 3 minutes. You don't want to wait in the cold. Those are the things that make people sick. Waiting out in the cold, it happened to me a lot. And for people that are new, let me tell you, the bus system here, you just have to study it. Usually there are two sets of, like if there is a bus 12, there are usually two sets of bus 12. There will be bus 12 that goes to where you're going, and there will be a bus 12 that comes from where you are coming. So like a bus 12 on one side, and there will be another bus stop at the opposite end for another bus 12 going where you're. So it's just like, if you go on the wrong bus 12, you will be going, instead of going to where you're coming, you'll be going elsewhere. So that's just the trick. So you get used to it with time, but just know that you have to make sure you're getting on the right bus. Like there are well, that's how it works in my city. If you are to take a bus 12, there will be two types of bus 12, and they will both be a bus 12. So make sure you just have the right bus 12, the one that is going, not the one that is coming. And make sure you have data on your phone so you don't get stranded. You don't want to get stranded in winter. So have data on your phone, even if it's small data. I know you use Wi-Fi at home and everything, but have a little bit of data so that you can check when the bus is coming. And it's not that like you are out of Wi-Fi, you are not in your school building, or you are not in your work building or whatever, and you don't have data to check. When that happened to me as well a lot. I want to say is make sure you eat well and drink a lot of water, and drink warm liquid. Make everything warm. Some people don't care when you are here for long, maybe, but for me I care, and I give my kids warm, like I make sure their water, I even mix it with hot water, just so that they don't get exposed to cold. So eat well, because you need to eat well here so that you have immunity, so your immunity is strong against the cold, with all this flu, COVID, everything. So eat well so you can withstand the cold. That's another thing. Then for you guys that are new here, coming here, just as soon as you get here, start with your driving test. Go for the G1 at least. Go for the writing test. Do that one. Have it. And just like make attempt to start learning how to drive. Make attempt to start trying to get your driver's license. It's easy to get a car here. Used or new, you get credit to get a loan if you want to get new, but that's a talk for another day. Make sure you are wise with your finance and don't start getting loans for a car that is beyond your salary. As a newcomer, these are easy ways to get into debt, by thinking you have a credit card and just splurging. But that's something for another day. But the point is, you can easily get a car here as a student or not, or as a worker. So if that's your cup of tea, like if you have like for me, I still take the bus as a student because parking is expensive. I cannot justify paying parking fees on my teaching assistant salary, so it all depends on you. But the point is, if you're working, or if you have a spouse that will be working, you will still need to get a car sooner or later. As a mom, I have a car, because as a mom I have to pick my kids and I have to drop them and go get groceries, so I still have a car. But going to school, I just park my car at home and I take the bus to through. But I use the car for every other thing. So the trick was the trick is when you get here, immediately start learning how to drive, or start trying to get your driving license and everything. It just helps a lot. And then another thing I want to say is to make sure that when you rent your apartment or your house, make sure that you have a heater. You can control your heater or your heating system from your apartment, especially for you guys that are going to rent a basement. Make sure, because we had that, we locked out with that. So when we just got here, we started with the basement. Fortunately, we didn't check, though we didn't know, but fortunately for us, we had the control system in the house, and because we are new, everything was just so cold, so we're able to tune the heater to whatever temperature we want, and it was not a problem for us. But I've heard horror stories from people that could not, because it was a centrally controlled heating system, and the landlady who lives upstairs or landlord who lives upstairs just makes it very cold, because they are used to cold, and also because they don't want to spend money on heat, on what's it called, forgetting what it's called, heating, whatever the money you pay for the bills for heat and all of that. So they didn't want to spend a lot of money on that, so it was very hard for this my friends. So opt for an apartment that has the heater, that you have the control over the heater. And also try to get a school for you guys that have kids in school. Try to get a school close to your house. When you go online and you're searching for schools, choose the one within your catchment area. Don't go too far. It just makes life easy for you. If possible, it should be like a walking distance to where you live. But when you have a car, then you can begin to have more control over the distance or flexibility or whatever. And then finally, I want to say, enjoy winter. See, if you've decided to come to Canada and make Canada your second home, you have to learn to enjoy winter. Winter is part of the package, except if you don't plan to stay here long term. But if you have plans to stay here, there are so many things you can do in winter. You can go, there's this thing they do, what's it called now? My daughter loves to do it, where you, sky. Is it skiing or skying now? I don't know. Skiing, I think. So you have all of that, and then you can also, there are a lot of winter sports, and they also have a lot of like festivals they do in winter, and you can just like find a way to maybe chill indoors, or find something to do outside. Don't just lock up yourself in the house all winter. Try to enjoy it. And I feel like if you dress properly, as I've explained, for winter, you will enjoy it. It can be very lovely, like walking with the snow falling and everything, taking walks around. But when you're warm, you don't feel it. So these are my tips for surviving winter in Canada. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Till the next time on this channel. If you like what I put out there, guys, remember to subscribe, to give me a thumbs up, and every good stuff. Thank you so much. Bye guys, take care.